Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John. We're taking the mask off. And on this episode of 7 on Sunday, I'm going to be counting down 7 of the worst remix collaborations of all time. I'm not talking about when somebody invites a DJ to remix their track for the club, or when Skrillex gets his hands on the Travis Scott song and does a chopped and screwed version. We're talking about when a pop artist or an alternative artist, whoever it might be, gets their version of the song and they're like, how could we make this better? Or worse, I should say. Well, let's invite somebody else on and maybe a rap feature will shoot it up the Hot 100. This has become a pretty popular technique dating back to the late 2000s, all throughout the 2010s, and now in 2020, we're seeing it like left and right. Like every pop song, it's going to have a feature and it's going to be from one of the hot artists right now. That's why In Your Eyes, The Weeknd featuring Doja Cat exists and whoever else is hot right now. It really irks me because it almost always does nothing for the song and it's clearly just meant to cash in on the other artist and their success, and they're hoping that it will propel the streaming numbers of the sales and it rises up the charts. It's a gimmick. It's like several of the others that I can't stand, but it's a way to game the system, and these are 7 of the times that it really flopped and fell straight on its face.
Tell me what's next, alien sex. I'ma disrobe you, then I'ma probe you. See, I abducted you, so
Katy Perry dropped her extremely successful album Teenage Dream in late 2010, and there were so many #1 singles from that album. In fact, it was one of the highest charting of all time in terms of overall singles, weeks on the charts. It was utter dominance. And how did she achieve this, at least in part? By adding remix features from rappers. We had the original California Girls featuring Snoop Dogg, and she saw the success there, so why not add in Last Friday Night featuring Missy Elliott, and then The One That Got Away featuring B.O.B. Boy, does that sound dated. And of course, the infamous E.T. with Kanye West. Can I just start off by saying that this song feels so lifted from the club in 2011. I go back to this, and it just reminds me of glitter and overly dancey beats that I don't really want to go back to. The infamous version features Kanye West with guest vocals. He comes in for a verse where he raps about, "Tell me what's next? Alien sex?" One of my main pet peeves with rap features is where they take a certain word or they hear what's the theme of the song and then they just write words that are like buzzing around that topic. And in the case of E.T., obviously we're talking about extraterrestrial love, and he takes that and just runs with it. Everything is space, everything is a metaphor, everything is a play on words, and it gets so old so fast. "I'ma disrobe you, then I'ma probe you." That is a classic Kanye West line right there. Buzzinga, he absolutely bodied any alien in his path, and I don't even want to hear any arguments.
Coulda, shoulda, got your sugar, get your sugar. Yes, please.
One of the most expensive rap features in the game is Nicki Minaj, and the clear cop-out here on this remix of Sugar with Maroon 5 is just the epitome of cringe. This comes in where Nicki Minaj says her name like she does on every feature, and then she says the name of the artist that she's working with, Nicki Minaj, Maroon 5, let's roll. Wow, how creative. You say the same thing for everybody and you get millions of dollars to do so. I mean, I guess that's great that you've unlocked the game, but just listening to this, she adds nothing. All they do is add in 30 seconds for her at the beginning of the song, and then Maroon 5 start the song as per usual, and she can't even be heard really throughout the rest of the track. It's just Maroon 5 singing Sugar.
Nicki Minaj, Maroon 5, let's go.
I already hated this song because it's going to be played at weddings for the next 50 years and I can't escape it. It's at the mall, it's wherever else we used to go before quarantine, and it's something that feels inescapable, and to add Nicki Minaj on top of that, it feels like insult to injury.
hey, remember when you tried to write me off?
Number 5, Taylor Swift's Bad Blood remix featuring Kendrick Lamar. Remember that music video where Taylor Swift really just spent the entire Bad Blood shoot just introducing different friends and not actually having any plot? Well, it turns out one of those friends was rapper Kendrick Lamar, and he was blowing up at the time. This was before To Pimp a Butterfly, or else right around it, I believe. And this song comes out, the remix drops, and people are split, and for good reason. Looking back about 5 years later, this has aged so terribly. The original song felt like a cheerleader chant from hell that got more annoying the more you listened to it, but as Kendrick comes in and delivers all of these rhymes that are really in acronyms, my BM to your TM and all of this other stuff, he even quotes one of his own songs. It's weird, it's messy, and it does not work out at all.
We was OG like DOC, remember that?
The simple fact is that neither artist complements each other here. It's a bad remix because Kendrick is clearly kind of phoning it in. He doesn't sound good when juxtaposed with that sugary beat, and while they try to add in a little bit of trap flavor to give it some more expertise in that field, it comes off sounding extremely white even though you've got Kendrick on it.
You will remember me. Always. Remember me for centuries. We ain't going nowhere.
Juicy J. And number 4, we have Fall Out Boy with the Centuries Remix featuring Juicy J of 3 6 Mafia fame. Now, I've said in a previous video that I would never listen to the entire album Make America Psycho again. Well, part of the reason why I'm never going to is because I know this remix. Fall Out Boy really think that they're cool with the hip-hop world. Pete Wentz in particular just really think that Fall Out Boy meshes with that scene when it rarely, if ever, works out for them. This is a prime example of it sounding so terrible, so bad, so forced. Juicy J takes the general synopsis about being remembered for centuries, which Patrick Stump sings during the hook, and then he writes his entire part just based around those few words. Obviously, it is very dull, it's very underwritten, and he ad-libs all of these words during Patrick's singing, and it's like these two things are fighting against each other. You're like pushing opposite sides of magnets and trying to make them stick.
Remix. With the legendary Juicy J.
You know the remix is gonna be gold when it opens up with Juicy J rapping remix with the legendary Juicy J. Let's go, because that doesn't sound try-hard at all or predictable like every other rapper has already done that. But if that wasn't great enough for you, then you can have Juicy J saying ad-libs like, yes sir, let's go, in history behind Patrick Stump singing. And it feels like an absolute clashing of the titans of two completely different worlds, and it doesn't work at all.
Let me slide on over, girl, and get a taste. Let's roll.
Yeah, you got the yummy yum.
Now we've gotten to the point in the list where I'm slowly just starting to lose a grasp on reality. At number 3, I have the Yummy Remix, Justin Bieber featuring Florida Georgia Line. That doesn't even sound right coming out, but it exists. It's real. The only reason it's not at number 1 is because they tried to pass it off as like a little silly remix when Justin was trying to get Yummy to number 1 and he failed massively. That didn't work out for him, but this is still out there in the world, and there's people out there unironically enjoying this song, and I have to question how. This song is so incredibly unfunny. They try to be tongue-in-cheek, they try to be country. Justin is even trying to sing with a country accent, and it is so painstakingly cringe. It's awful! The lines that Florida Georgia Line come in and deliver about Chick-fil-A and all of these other things that are so country, the little cliches, this is funny, that'll be cool, want it? No!
I've been up in Waffle House, but you my Chick-fil-A.
I didn't think Yummy as a solo track could get any worse. It's easily one of the worst tracks of 2020, but adding Florida Georgia Line, one of the worst things to happen to modern country on top of that, that is the nail in the coffin where I nope the fuck out.
Now Billie sing that crazy hook again. Wrecking ball. Don't you know, my achy breaking heart. You just don't like it, understand.
I feel like I need to say a prayer before this next one, but my God, we're pressing on. Number 2 is Buck 22, Achy Breaky 2 featuring Billie Ray Cyrus. There may be 2s all around, but this song is certainly a certified 0. Billie Ray Cyrus is a country artist. He dates back to like the late 80s, early 90s. He blew up on the back of his hit song, Achy Breaky Heart, which I find to be quite terrible. He has been a part of some cool things, like obviously I like the Old Town Road remix, and he really rode that one into the sunset. But this particular song from 2014, Buck 22, a country trap artist, and Billie Ray Cyrus, deserves to be buried far in the past for things that never should have happened. I'm kind of letting this one off on a technicality because is it a full-on remix of Achy Breaky Heart, or is it more of an interpolation? It's hard to say because Billie Ray is actually credited on the song and he actually sings the hook to Achy Breaky Heart. The entire music video, you can see him just strumming away at this guitar, but there's no actual music from the guitar to be heard in the entire song, pretty much? What the fuck is even going on in this song? I listened to it and I do laugh out loud because it's hilariously bad. I hope that they intended it to be that way because it was not at all well received. This track really got shit on quickly and then just buried. Most people, this probably won't even register on your radar. But go back, give it a listen, and you actually get to hear this guy rapping about Billie Ray Cyrus, and then of course he gives the infamous Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball!
Why that wasn't a bigger meme, I don't know, but bring it back and thank me later.
Gold teeth, my neck, my wrist is froze. I got more ice than the snow.
Number one. It's the Bad Guy remix by Billie Eilish featuring her childhood hero Justin Bieber. You know what they say about never meeting your heroes? Well, maybe never collaborate with them, especially if they're not even going to fucking try. Bad Guy sees the original song being fantastic and its remix being one of the worst things to ever grace my ears. Do you want to hear a Justin Bieber talk about how he's a bad guy and how his wrist is full of tatted sleeves and how his watch is so icy as he drops in a few times? He's icier than the snow, he's got the flow, and it's abhorrent. This is embarrassing. From an artist that actually has a reputation, has been extremely successful, he totally missed the point of the song. Here is the point, and here is Justin just flying away in La La Land. The original song was tongue-in-cheek. It was a bit ironic as Billie poked fun at people and made fun of some stereotypes. I think the original track is pretty fantastic, although it's a little bit overplayed. I'm glad that it went to number one, but I'm also glad that it wasn't the remix that actually got it there.
So I'm pretty glad that you're alone.
Justin comes in and ruins the flow of the song, provides absolutely nothing as he sounds asleep at the wheel the entire song, and then he ruins the outro by shouting, "So icy!" at a random time. Who needed this ad-lib? And I know, poor Billie, I get it. It's your idol. You don't want to say no to them. But now, hopefully that door is closed where you, at the very least, if you collaborate again, you can at least say like, hey Justin, could you like give some effort instead of none? Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of 7 on Sunday. If you enjoyed what you saw, then please drop a like on the video. What are some of the worst remix collaborations that you've ever listened to? Let me know in the comment section down below. Check out more episodes floating directly below me right over here. Support me on Patreon at the top link down below if you feel so inclined. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.